mistake?
ये रख लो।
So, this is a long topic and obviously cannot be covered in a short span with 2 more speakers to go. I'll try to cut short as much as possible and give a very concise version, because this is actually theme for a full day conference. So, but this is what I was asked, so the mistakes we make or we see doctors make are classified in various categories. There are certain mistakes we make before we have even started treatment. In fact, even before we have set up an establishment to invite patients for treatment. Then before treatment, during treatment, before an adverse event, after an adverse event, after receiving legal notice, after receiving court's notice, then we make mistake once the case is in court, and after an adverse judgment also we make certain mistakes, so I'll try to cover them as fast as possible. Before treatment, the most important mistake is claiming to be a specialist or a super specialist without MCI recognized qualification. Each city in the country has MD medicine, cardiologist and endocrinologist, gastroenterologist and neurologist and rheumatologist. This is wrong, this is negligence per se. My introduction was very clear. I am MD medicine basic qualification, so I am a physician and GI endoscopist. I am not a gastro. I cannot claim to be a gastroenterologist till the time I have an MCI recognized qualification in that branch. Foxy was holding one meeting and somebody was discussing starting a MCH program in infertility. And I objected to that very strongly because it is very easy to start super specializations. But tomorrow, a DM gastroenterology will land up in court because he has treated a patient of chronic liver disease, because he is not a qualified hepatologist as by today's definition. Where are we going? We are not stopping to think, we are not stopping to review which way we are heading. I have innumerable examples, court cases which I can quote on this issue, but again, as I said, the basic crux of the matter is you can practice cardiology. There is nothing wrong. You can practice rheumatology. You can practice neurology. But you cannot claim to be a neurologist, gastroenterologist, cardiologist, whatever. So you need an MCI recognized qualification, or you need to be able to convince the court tomorrow if the issue arises that you are adequately qualified and trained in that specialty. Malay Kumar Ganguly's case was one of the most famous ones where this issue was established. Dr. Sukumar Mukherjee was basically a very senior physician, but he was also practicing dermatology, and this was the issue which was raised over there. Medico's Legal Action Group, on behalf of that, we had taken information under RTI from MCI, and they had clearly given this answer that even an MBBS can conduct a cesarean, can do a delivery, can conduct minor surgeries. You, as a specialist, can do super specialty work as long as you do not claim to be a super specialist. So if you are trained, you can write down, you are trained in gastroenterology, you are trained in neurology, you are trained in infertility, in case tomorrow MCH infertility comes up. There was a very interesting judgment. The person is MCH urology. He did not do 10th and jumped to MCH urology. He went through MBBS, he did MS surgery, and then he did MCH urology. This gentleman conducted a cholecystectomy and patient developed biliary leak and there were some problems. So the issue which was raised was, can a super specialist do the specialist's work. But our judiciary is extremely intelligent, and it is supreme. Obviously, if I say something, I will be held in contempt. But their decision was, the general surgeon can do any surgery, no doubt. But if any super specialist in the field of surgery possesses basic qualification as master of surgery, it does not mean that he can do any surgery other than the super speciality he is trained in. I hope what I am saying is sinking in to the level of ignorance, the level of incompetence of our judiciary, who is sitting in judgment over us. There are no other words for this. Then other mistakes that doctors make before starting treatment is starting an establishment without proper infrastructure or equipment. You see many cases I have quoted over here where doctors have done hysterectomy in a place which did not have ICU, and Supreme Court said that this is negligence. And this case belongs to, I think, 1994 or 95, when this actual surgery was done. The judgment came later in 2017, but the case was of 1994. And in 1994, how many ICUs did Chandigarh have? I'm sure government medical college, the government medical college didn't exist. I'm sure this multi-speciality hospital 16 did not have. I think it was only PGI which had ICUs. Fortis did not exist, Max did not exist. There were no. In 94, I had purchased a defibrillator, and I was told that this is the 4th defibrillator to be purchased in the city. That is the kind of situation it was in 94. But here is the Supreme Court who has penalized for doing a hysterectomy in a place which did not have ICU. On one side, they say you should not be judging somebody wearing spectacles of today, because what is practiced today is not what was the practice in 94. But this is the situation. B.L. Kapoor Memorial Hospital, they operated a patient of fracture femur. The patient developed fat embolism, required ventilator. It is not that they did not have ventilators. They had ventilators, but their ventilators were occupied. So they had to refer to a different hospital, and for this they were penalized 4 lakhs. Recently, in November 2021, we have had a judgment from Supreme Court which has said that if you do not have an equipment available at that particular time, this cannot be considered negligence. So this is a relief. But as I said, there are doctors and there are establishments who have already suffered on this ground. We have cases where Apollo Hospital Chennai has been penalized for not having a machine to test and calculate the methotrexate levels in the body. This is chemotherapy being given to a person, and because they did not have a facility to monitor methotrexate levels, I mean, I tried to find out if PGI has that. I'm still not aware, but maybe today they have it. Other mistakes before treatment is not taking proper indemnity insurance. This is something you are going to listen from me also in concise form, and you have a full-blown lecture on indemnity insurance coming up. But in my experience, what are the fallacies? I still come across, there was an anesthetist in Jalandhar, private practice for 10 years. He rings me, Dr. Sahab, mere patient ki death ho gayi and I have this case against me. Fine, no issue, call you. Problem kya hai? Problem ye hai ji, I don't have indemnity insurance. I have never taken indemnity insurance. During COVID times, some doctors who were taking indemnity insurance earlier stopped taking during this COVID time. कि patient तो इतने देख नहीं रहे हैं, थोड़े पैसे बचा लें. Then government hospitals and resident doctors still refuse to take indemnity insurance. I don't know what is needed. We have had landmark cases in Chandigarh, Suman versus Government Multi-Speciality Hospital case was there. The intern, the house doctor, the technician, blood bank technician, and one more person for the hospital itself. These were the ones which were penalized. And the hospital said, wash their hands very cleanly, and said that the intern and the house doctor have to look after themselves. They had to fight their own cases. The hospital totally washed their hands off the case. But the resident doctors today also refuse to take indemnity insurance. My daughter, my son, both of them have had indemnity insurance when they were interns. We provided it to them. We made sure they had it. Until now, we are making sure that they continue having it. Then people come up with, डॉक्टर साहब indemnity हमने बहुत सालों से कराई थी. चलिए अच्छी बात है. कितने की? 3 लाख की है जी. 3 lakhs indemnity insurance is toilet paper. Do not even use it. It is as good as not using it also. Inappropriate filling a proposal form. बंदा मेरे ऑफिस के बाहर 2 घंटे बैठा, मसा मैंने उसको टाइम दिया, अच्छा भाई तू आ जा, तो मुझे बता साइन कहाँ करना, मैं साइन कर देता हूँ, तू अपने आप भर लेना। उसको जो समझ आया उसने भर लिया। मेरे होप क्लिनिक एंड मैटरनिटी सेंटर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड इज द नेम ऑफ द एस्टैब्लिशमेंट। होप गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल डायग्नोस्टिक क्लिनिक इज अ यूनिट ऑफ दैट। अगर उसने होप गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल डायग्नोस्टिक क्लिनिक लिखा और कल को केस जो है होप क्लिनिक एंड मैटरनिटी सेंटर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के ऊपर होता है, द इंश्योरेंस विल रिफ्यूज एंड आई विल एग्री विद देम। प्लीज स्पेंड टाइम in filling the proposal forms properly. We tend to value our time much more, but please remember the time you do not spend to prevent litigation, multiply it by 20 is the time you will spend because you had not spent this time now, and that time you will be spending in courts. Not taking error and omission policy, plus personal professional indemnity insurance. Lot of doctors tell me कि जी establishment तो मेरी personal है, I am the proprietor, so financial records में the proprietor and the establishment is one and the same thing. I agree, but this is not financial records. You are a pediatrician, you are having your own setup, fine. Or you are a surgeon, you are having your own setup. Even any other doctor you are needed and you called, and the anesthetist comes to your clinic, the orthopedician comes to your clinic, a surgeon comes to your clinic, and now the clinic has been sued, you have not been sued because you called somebody else of different specialty to come and see a patient. But you have only personal professional indemnity insurance, you do not have error and omission policy. So the insurance company, if I am advising them, I will tell them very clearly, no question of paying the compensation which is awarded. There is a radiologist, he was doing an MRI, the patient was moving around a lot. So he called an anesthetist, the anesthetist gave injection, the patient died. Now, this was a proprietorship concern, and the claim was filed against the establishment as well as the anesthetist. How will the insurance company give the compensation? You don't have a right to expect it also. So please take personal professional indemnity insurance as well as error and omission policy, even if you have a proprietary establishment. Indemnity insurance policies in India are dirt cheap. Don't be miserly in this. Then, taking one large policy. I wanted to talk to Neeraj about this also because his policy is huge. I would have much better preferred smaller policies, multiple from one vendor, alright. एक 20 लाख की, एक 30 लाख की, एक 1 करोड़ की कर लो, एक 50 लाख की कर लो. But एक ही जगह से. Some insurers refuse to give it like this. Medical Legal Action Group with United Insurance, we have an agreement, we give it. I am sure Secure Now will also be providing you the same. But you need to negotiate with insurers to get this facility. Why do I say? Because when you go to court and the judge is sitting and you tell them कि डॉक्टर साहब मेरा तो insurance है इस company से, and you give a policy of 4 crores. The judge is so liberal. This is a rich doctor, 4 crores he is insured for. If I have awarded 70 lakhs, what difference will it make? There is from Hoshiarpur State Commission, Pathankot, one neonatologist has delivered twins and prematurity, retinopathy of prematurity, and the State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission has awarded 70 lakhs per twin, 1.4 crore. The doctor started his nursing home 3 years ago. My loans have not finished 25 years after I started my nursing home. The indemnity insurance he had was for 10 lakhs. Where is he going to go? So try taking multiple policies from the same vendor. Then taking a policy in ratio 1:4 or 1:2. Person comes, he tells me, Dr. Nagpal, आपके जो पॉलिसी है 18,000 की पड़ रही है. ठीक है भाई, ये तो बहुत ज्यादा है. वो कहता है अच्छा जी, लेट मी टॉक टू माय सीनियर. वो बाहर जाता है, बाहर जाके थोड़ी देर कैलकुलेशन करता है, वापस आता है, डॉक्टर साहब मैं आपको 13,000 की दे रहा हूँ पर आप किसी को बताना मत. What has he done? He has changed your policy from 1:1 to 1:4. What does this mean? If you have taken a policy of 10 lakhs, a case is filed against you for 10 lakhs, the court awards 10 lakhs, the insurance company is going to pay only 2.5 lakhs. And they are not wrong. This is part of the document which you are purchasing through the indemnity insurer. Then not taking unqualified attendant cover. पेशेंट का आपने सर्जरी कर दिया, सब कुछ बढ़िया हो गया, स्ट्रेचर पे वो ले जा करके दूसरे वार्ड में ले जा रहे थे और जो वार्ड हेल्पर था उससे वो पेशेंट स्ट्रेचर से गिर गया. किसकी गलती है? Now this is the attendant and the establishment which is going to be called into question. And your unqualified attendant cover costs you just 7.5% of the premium amount. It does not make a difference of more than 200-300 if you take that cover also. But somehow we get very financially intelligent when we have to buy indemnity insurance. Not reading the policy terms. Please go through the policy terms. This is very, very important. Not taking indemnity insurance after death of doctor. This is a controversial issue. I have under RTI asked all 4 public sector insurers. I have asked IRDA. Nobody is willing to give me a straight answer. What is the issue? The issue is these indemnity insurance people are providing you policies which are claim based. What does this mean, claim based? I have operated today. Today I am covered by United India. The claim can be filed 2 years from the cause of action, and discovery rule says the cause of action can be extended and it can be from discovery of cause of action. So a case can be filed anywhere between 2 years to 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, any amount. चलो 2 साल भी हम ले लें, 2 साल बाद you are covered with Secure Now. A claim based policy, it means the insurance company which is liable to give compensation will give compensation on the basis of when the claim has been first filed. If the claim has been filed in 2021, the company which is giving you cover in 2021 will be responsible to pay the compensation, even though the event is of 2019. Now, what is event-based policies? There are event-based policies also. But all the insurers today are providing you the claim-based policies. Now, my issue with that is, I operate somebody today and tomorrow I die. The person can file the claim 2 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later. There will be no indemnity insurance to cover me. It is a claim-based insurance. So, should I be writing in my will that my legal heirs should be taking personal professional indemnity insurance in perpetuity after my death? We need to get this corrected, and legally someday hopefully we will try. We are trying already, we have made representations all over, but this is a very critical issue, because 2002 Consumer Protection Act amendment had clearly said that death of the opposite party, which means the doctor, will not abate the claim which has arisen. His legal heirs or his estate will have to pay if compensation is awarded. So basically it is Civil Procedure Code which now applies on in consumer disputes, and that is very clear on this issue, that death of the complainant or death of the opposite party does not make any difference. The claim does not abate because of that. I mean, this has never happened so far, but I am worried that someday something like this will also arise. Government sector, I can give you umpteen examples. This is a classical example. Only 2 crores 28 lakhs 87,921 was awarded for free treatment given in a government hospital. Army hospitals, a lot of people think are not covered. This is a case from Army hospital. You are taking insurance to operate in one center, but आप गए हैं और आपने कैंप होल्ड किया है राजन चौक ने जाकर के कहीं और उस जगह का मेंशन आपने पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट में नहीं है. So if insurance tomorrow says कि डॉक्टर साहब we covered you only in Fortis, we covered you only in this particular center you have mentioned, and you have gone and operated in a clinic which is in a village and there is hardly any facility, we will not cover you. They will be having some legal standing in taking that stance. This I have already told you, these are various examples. Other mistakes before treatment, consent. This is where every one of us falters. Not taking consent at all, taking consent from a relative instead of from an adult, competent, conscious patient. Ki mother se sign kara liye, sister se sign kara liye, arre kyun? If the person is 18 years, if the person is conscious, if the person is competent, why are you not taking consent from the person? Umpteen examples I can give you where this problem has been there, that the consent has been given by somebody else. It is wrong. Doing something more than what consent has been taken for. आप गए थे लैप्रोस्कोपिक डायग्नोस्टिक करने, साथ में आपने हिस्टेरेक्टमी भी चुक दी. It is a problem. Consent is not in the same language in which the patient is signing the document. पेशेंट पंजाबी में साइन कर रहा है, आपकी सारी कंसेंट अंग्रेजी में है. It is not correct. No signature of the surgeon. Consent is defined in Indian law only under Indian Contract Act. And a contract is always between two people. What do we do? नर्स को कहते हैं ये कागज पे साइन करा ला, अंगूठा लगवा लिया. It is a contract. Contract is not valid unless both parties have signed. Name of the procedure not mentioned. Alternative treatments available have not been explained. Consent regarding non-availability of equipment has not been taken. No separate consent for blood transfusion has been taken. No separate consent for anesthesia has been taken. No witnesses in high-risk consent. And when I say high-risk consent, I mean when you are operating advocates also, please consider it a high-risk patient, even if it is an elective case you are doing. Consent not taken before oral hormone replacement therapy. We think consent is needed only for procedures, for invasive procedures are being done. No. We have criminal cases which have been filed for oral hormone replacement therapy, oral MTP pills, oral drugs like azathioprine. I myself am using azathioprine so frequently, right, left, center, and we are also not taking consent. So it is not कि मैं कोई दूध का धुला हूँ. I am part of you. It is not normal standard medical practice. Then, not taking real and valid consent. If you hear legal experts, some of them have said that if the complication rate is less than 10%, you don't need to take mention that complication in the consent. This is a very tricky statement. पहली चीज तो 100 cholecystectomies में से अगर 10 में आपकी complication है, you have no business of doing cholecystectomies at all. The actual issue is if there are 100 cases of complication in thousands of cholecystectomies, you have picked up 100 cases where complications occurred. Now, what was the complication which was occurring most? Bile leak, 10% or 15%? Then that has to be explained. Anything which of this 100 complications is less than 10%, you can ignore it. But I would strongly suggest, if you are doing anything where the person can lose sight, it has to be told. If you are doing something where the person can lose a limb, you have to, he has to be told about that. If he is going to lose any organ, he has to be told about that. Plus the common complications which other doctors would also inform. Adverse consequences of refusing treatment. PGI में recently दो advocates, एक advocate couple अपने बच्चे को लेके आया with a foreign body in the bronchus. The senior resident came. The senior resident asked them to sign the consent for bronchoscopic removal of the foreign body and mentioned clearly that death can occur. Now, they were advocates, so they refused. So the senior resident was intelligent enough to write down this thing on the OPD card that the relatives have refused to give consent. That is a different issue, that the senior resident is still probably going to be penalized, and there was already an inquiry which was marked by the director PGI, and he made 2 bar council members as members of the medical board which was constituted. I gave a legal notice to the director PGI for doing this, but so you have to explain the adverse consequences of refusing treatment also to the patients in your consent. This was a weird judgment. It is not enough that you mention the complications which are given by Indian Society of Anesthesia, by the European Society of Anesthesia. You have to tell how many anesthesias you have given personally and what is the complication rate of you giving the anesthesia, or you doing the ERCP, or you doing the surgery. I found this very, very strange. Why? All training of doctors, somebody will be doing some procedure second time. The first patient died. What is he going to write in the consent? I have 100% mortality. Is the person ever going to get any treatment from a person who is a trainee? But this was the judgment. No society, no organization of doctors thought it fit to challenge this. This is the case CMC Vellore, where oral hormone replacement therapy resulted in intraductal carcinoma breast, and the patient filed criminal cases besides the civil litigation. This is also I have already mentioned, so let's not go into that. Mistakes before an adverse event. We have misplaced priorities. We have lack of SOPs. What is a SOP? A standard operating procedure. In a particular situation, what is to be done? अगर मेरे हॉस्पिटल में डेथ हो गई, किसकी ड्यूटी है क्या करने की? If there is a sudden unexplained death, who is the person who is going to inform the police? Who is the person who is going to inform the advocate? Who is the person who is going to inform the seniors? Everything has to be laid down and practiced repeatedly as a standard operating procedure. Like you have fire drills, you need to have standard operating procedures for all possible unforeseen events, even an emergency exit nahi hai. Furniture should be secured. Like you have this chair, it is secured. Nobody can lift this chair and throw it at me if he doesn't like what I say. This is the way you need to secure the furniture even in hospitals. Poor training and communication. This is a problem regarding our medical education. Poor knowledge of law and refusal to learn from others' mistakes. We are all kings in our castles. हम बादशाह हैं, हमें सब कुछ पता है, हमें कुछ सिखाने की कोशिश मत करो. But when a problem occurs, then IMA, medical legal action group, everybody should be at my beck and call. Why ये क्यों नहीं मुझे support कर रहे, वो क्यों नहीं कर रहे? This is something we need to introspect on. Refusal to integrate with local population socially, religiously, politically. We maintain a very aloof attitude and we are aloof, even this is part of our professional training. We are objective. Rarely there are good doctors, good general practitioners especially, who maintain very, very friendly and very family-like relations with their patients. But doctors who are specialists, doctors who are to do invasive procedures, they maintain an objectivity. There is a distance they try to maintain between the patient and themselves. This is also a problem among us and we need to see how best to tackle this. We refuse to pamper local police and IMA executives. How many of you sent a Diwali gift to Dr. Kapil? Nobody. But tomorrow if a case happens, the first phone call you will give is to him. We send Diwali gifts to all people who refer us Tom, Dick and Harry's. Why not to him? We need to cultivate. We need to cultivate the local policy. Mistakes during treatment, improper documentation. This is the crux of the matter. If doctors learn documentation, 99% of the problems will go away, because even consent is part of documentation. Why is this needed? Why documentation is needed? What to document? When to document? How to document? Where to document? What not to do with documents? Where to store? How long to store? And what documents are to be given to patient? These are various issues. This is a full lecture in itself, so I will not go into too much detail, but why you need to is, courts say that poor records mean poor defense and no records mean no defense. Also, in case you expire during the pendency of the case, your legal heirs will have to fight the case and they will not be able to do, in case they are not doctors or they are not of the same specialty, if you have not maintained adequate records. So for your own sake, for the sake of your children, please maintain good records. And there is an exclusion clause. Go back, read your indemnity insurance policy which you have received, which says very clearly, the company is not liable to indemnify for deliberate, conscious or intentional disregard of the need to take all reasonable steps to prevent claims. And what are those reasonable steps? The doctor concerned in this particular case had to file a case against the insurance company, and the insurance company said कि हमने documents मांगे, इन्होंने कहा कि documents कोई है ही नहीं. Details of CPR. I personally think this is ridiculous, because one, they want us to maintain the records contemporaneously. It has to be with time. What time you did what. When we are doing a CPR, it is not an elective procedure here. It is not something which we are doing by giving an appointment or a date of 2 months कि आप 2 महीने बाद आ जाना हमारे पास CPR कराने के लिए. If person has arrested, my entire focus is on giving the cardiac massage, on maintaining the airway, on giving artificial respiration, whatever else is needed, and I am doing that. But you want me to document on a minute-to-minute basis on what I have done. तो मैं करूं क्या? एक कार्डियक मसाज दूं, जाके लिखूं कार्डियक मसाज given at this and this time, this so many seconds, go back, give the second cardiac massage and write. It is nonsense. It is not medical practice. But again, we have multiple judgments in this on this ground. Remember one thing, Kunal Saha's wife, Anuradha, had died in Breach Candy Hospital. And she had been treated in the AMRI hospital only for 4 days. And in Breach Candy, she remained for 12 or 13 days. I think 13 or 17, one of these is the figure. But the entire judgment of 11.6 crores is against AMRI hospital, where she did not die, where she remained only for 3 or 4 days. Why? Breach Candy Hospital people had maintained such meticulous records, even of adverse behavior of the relatives, adverse behavior of the patient's husband, and even the patient. Later they are claiming that the fluids nahi diye. It was documented. If doctor has advised 4 liters of fluid to be given, the patient and her husband have refused to take it. The husband is interfering with treatment. The doctor, Udwadia, very senior physician, he is mentioning all these things in the file. So many times we have arguments with patients' relatives. We don't document all these things. But this is what had saved the Breach Candy Hospital in that case. Then we tend to do a procedure and write ERCP normal. Now this is not acceptable by the courts. This Rishabh Sharma case, initially National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission awarded 64 lakhs. The case in Supreme Court went, they awarded 76. What was the issue? The doctor has written no ROP seen. What does the judge say? The judge says he should have performed retinal examination with binocular indirect ophthalmoscope on dilatation of pupil with scleral depression to a certain avascular zone at the periphery of retina.
Who told the judge?
Sir,
He told.
the point is, you have to write in detail, in a descriptive manner, how you are doing the ERCP. What are your findings in the esophagus? What are your findings in the stomach? What kind of ampulla is there? Whether there is periambulary diverticulum or not? How you have cannulated? Whether you have used a cannula or a sphincterotome or what? Basically, you have to describe the procedure. And when you tamper your medical records, please remember this is a criminal offense. And the example is of Apollo Hospitals, Delhi, where Pramod Mahajan's son was brought with the secretary of Pramod Mahajan in an intoxicated state, and there was a lot of political pressure on not to make a medical legal case. 3 hours they didn't make the case. After 3 hours, the secretary of Pramod Mahajan, he died. After that, there was no option and the doctors had to make a case. The High Court asked 2 cases to continue. One against Rahul Mahajan under NDPS, Narcotics Act, and second against doctors of the Apollo Hospital for tampering of evidence. And this is criminal cases which were asked to continue. It was refused to be quashed. Question frequently asked is, how long should we maintain medical records? Because there are different laws which say different things. Consumer Protection Act, you think 2 years, law of limitation says 3 years, PCP NDT says something else. So we have formulated our own law. And this is now well recognized all over the country. In joke, we mention it as Nagpal's law. What you do is, every year, you give an advertisement in 2 newspapers, one vernacular, one English. Newspapers should be such which nobody reads. Please make sure of that. Give an advertisement saying that records of more than 5 years, we are going to destroy 30 days later. Anybody interested in their records should approach us within these 30 days. After 30 days, do not destroy the records, keep them indefinitely. If you have a case filed against you 10 years later, you will have those advertisements as well as your medical records. If your medical records are good, your advocate will use them to defend you. If your medical records are bad, he will use the advertisement to say कि डॉक्टर साहब हमने तो ये advertisement दी थी जज साहब और किसी ने हमसे इन्होंने मांगा नहीं तो हमने डिस्ट्रॉय कर दी. आपके पास कोई डिफेंस तो है. Mistakes during treatment, improper communication. This is a major problem. And it is a systemic problem. It is across the country, it is across continents. I can carry on and on this topic. Basically, there was this study which was done, vincristine and methotrexate. Vincristine is to be given IV in lymphoma cases and methotrexate is to be given intrathecally. And 55 cases were identified in 2007, where from 1960 something to 2006, 55 cases were identified across continents, multiple countries, different doctors, where the same mistake was made. Instead of methotrexate, vincristine was injected and methotrexate was given IV. When same mistake is occurring across board, there is something wrong with the system. You can't keep blaming the person. You can't keep blaming one person. One person can be negligent. Everybody else was not. You can't say everybody is negligent. Then mistakes during treatment, jousting. वो डॉक्टर साहब ने तो आप कहाँ चले गए, फंस गए आप, तो ये सर्जरी आपकी ना पिछली तो उस समय आ जाते तो हम ज़्यादा अच्छा कर देते. And the biggest problem arises in institutions where consultants, when they are teaching residents, they sometimes, or the resident who's presenting, he presents in a tone and a tenor as if to suggest the doctor who is practicing outside and who has referred the patient has no idea what he is talking about. This creates lots of problems. I will not go into the detail of this. And remember, normally we consider vicarious liability as something which is limited to civil litigation, which means consumer courts, civil claims being filed against you. But we have examples where vicarious liability has been imposed in criminal justice system, where administrator has given a official order to doctors not to admit patients in ICU unless there is a deposit of 25,000. Now somebody does not have that money and the patient decided to take the patient away, and before the patient could reach the next hospital, the patient died. In this situation, the medical superintendent, now he has not treated the patient. He has not seen the patient, he has not treated the patient. But criminal charges under section 304 were filed against him. This is Sundarlal Jain Hospital, Delhi. There is another case which happened recently. After an adverse,
can we find
you have mistakes after an adverse event. A lot of things are there, but basically there is panic shock, lack of coordination in emergency, and in case there is a sudden unexpected death, please ask for an autopsy. You do not need the patient's permission, the relative's permission to get an autopsy done. All you need to do is, you need to make sure you inform the police. Let the police and the relatives settle. Your job is finished once you have informed the police that we don't know the cause of death in this situation and we recommend a post-mortem should be done. This is an example where criminal cases were filed because cesarean section was being taken up for elective section, and the doctor came out and told the patient's relatives that everything suddenly after anesthesia the patient collapsed. They got a post-mortem done. The patient's relatives went to the police and the police got a post-mortem done, and they found a fractured pelvis with huge hematoma inside. This had nothing to do with cesarean or the surgery or the anesthesia. While shifting from trolley to probably the OT table, the patient was dropped somewhere and there was this fracture. So you need to make sure that you inform the police and you are the one who is proactive in this matter. Mistakes after receiving legal notice. Do not give a very, very detailed reply where you disclose your defenses. This is a frequent problem we encounter. After receiving a legal notice from advocate or from this settlement is a major problem. Doctors do this settlement, write down some things on a paper, the patient signs, the doctor signs, After some days, the doctor comes with a piece of paper to me and says, "Doctor साहब, हमने तो इसको पैसे दे दिए थे, ये अब कंज्यूमर कोर्ट चला गया है और ये एग्रीमेंट उसने एविडेंस के तौर पे लगाया कि डॉक्टर नेग्लिजेंट था, तभी तो उसने पैसे दिए." So court supervised settlement should be there, and please remember, even if you compromise with the patient party, that does not abate a criminal case if it has been filed against you. Because criminal case is state versus you. It is not the complainant versus you. Mistakes after receiving a court notice, improper defense, we can carry on and on this. After an adverse judgment, if you don't go in appeal, like in V. Krishna Kumar's case, the pediatricians did not come in appeal and the court enhanced the compensation which was awarded by National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission against the doctors. They said because the doctors did not come in appeal, so they have accepted their guilt. Insurance company went in appeal and then used the doctor's defense again to negate any compensation which was awarded. But what are the common summary? Appearing in NEET exam, completing MBBS, remaining in medical profession, deciding to remain in India, doing post-graduation, not retiring by 35 years age, and marrying a doctor. So what are the short ways to be medico-legally safe? 1. Stop practicing medicine. 2. Request name to be deleted from State Medical Council registration. Strongly curb the desire to be a hero in public place, plain, roadside. Curb your desire to use medical knowledge for charitable purposes. I will give you umpteen examples. 9.6 crores I think was awarded by a sessions court against a Christian missionary hospital in Tamil Nadu for conducting a free eye surgery camp. Or you can divorce and remarry an advocate, judge, IPS official, or a politician and then practice medicine fearlessly. So I think we should end at that.